At Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
A lovely morning to you. You're welcome to today's newspaper review today in the dailies on 24 News Radio and Television. My name is Grace Nwaf. I do hope you had a lovely weekend. Yes, a quick rundown of the major stories that made the headlines. Workers' compensation, FD backtracks as NLC holds ground. Lawmakers under fire over bribe for bill allegation. APC opposition clash over by-election results in 12 states. 2 Nigerians die of suspected poisoning in Libya. FG bows to NLC pressure, appoints chairman for PENCOM. Many feared killed as bus plunged into Taraba River. These and more stories will come your way in the course of this newspaper review. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to 24 News and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and Television for breaking news and current happenings across the globe. 24 News Radio and Television. The world is closer than you think.
Yes, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, this is the newspaper review on 24 News Radio and Television. Now, beginning from the Punch newspaper, workers' compensation, FG backtracks as NLC holds ground. The federal government has pledged to reverse deductions from the employees' compensation scheme managed by the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund to ease tensions with the Nigeria Labour Congress following the threat of a nationwide strike by the union. Last week, the NLC accused the federal government of diverting 40% of NSITF contributions to the government treasury. The NLC said the move undermined workers' social protection and demanded both an immediate refund and a full reconstitution of the National Pension Commission Board. It warned that non-compliance would trigger industrial action nationwide. For the full report, and that's the Punch newspaper is your guide. And still coming from the Punch, lawmakers under fire over bribe for bill allegation. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has called on Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas to urgently refer the allegations made by a REPS member Ibrahim Oyo to anti-corruption agencies for investigation and prosecution of suspected perpetrators. Jigawa lawmaker Oyo last week alleged that House members paid between 1 million naira and 3 million naira to have their bills presented at the Green Chamber. For the full report, and that's the Punch newspaper is still your guide. This one here says APC opposition clash over by-election results in 12 states. The ruling All Progressive Congress, the African Democratic Congress, and the People's Democratic Party on Sunday differed over the outcome of the by-elections held on Saturday across 16 constituencies in 12 states. While the APC captured the majority of the seats, the PDP recorded wins in Ibadan, Oyo State, and Adamawa State. The NMPP emerged victorious in Kano, and the All Progressive Grand Alliance secured up Anambra State. The ADC, however, did not win in any constituency. For the full report, and that's the Punch newspaper is your guide. 2 Nigerians die of suspected poisoning in Libya. 2 Nigerians identified simply as Collins and Osas have reportedly died in Tripoli, the capital of Libya, under circumstances suspected to be linked to poisoning. Reports gathered on Saturday that the victims, who were both residing in the Misrata part of the country, had traveled to Tripoli on July 20 with a friend whose identity is yet unknown. For the full report on that, the Punch newspaper is your guide. This one says FG bows to NLC pressure, appoints chairman for PENCOM. The federal government has bowed to the threat of a strike by the Nigeria Labour Congress for not constituting the governing board of the National Pension Commission by appointing Mr. Opeyemi Agbaje as the chairman. The news of Agbaje's appointment was confirmed to newsmen by impeccable NLC sources as well as some industry officials. For the full report on that, the Punch newspaper is your guide. And from Taraba State, there's a report that said many feared dead as boats plunged into Taraba River. Tragedy struck on Sunday after a commercial boat conveying an unspecified number of passengers plunged into the Namnia River in Gasol local government area of Taraba State. According to report, the incident occurred while the vehicle branded Adamawa Express was attempting to cross a collapsed bridge. For the full report on that, the Punch newspaper is a guide, and the last one from the Punch and from the southeast. Imo bans kindergarten graduation ceremony. The Imo state government has announced an immediate ban on graduation parties for kindergarten, nursery, and junior secondary school pupils, saying the measure will reduce financial burdens on parents and redirect attention to the academic development of children. The Commissioner for Education, Professor Bernard Ikewoha, disclosed this in a memo addressed to parents, guardians, and stakeholders in the state education sector. For the full report on that, the Punch newspaper is your guide. I actually think this is actually a nice move, considering the fact that graduation, kindergarten, nursery, junior secondary. What exactly are you graduating from? Okay, maybe the nursery parts kind of, oh, let's graduate from nursery to primary school. But for the kindergarten parts, oh god, I don't know what you're graduating from. But and also for the GSS3, a lot have been happening. Why would you graduate from GSS? Like, why would you be celebrating the graduation for GSS3 students when they have not even like scratched the basics of the secondary academic learning? Well, let's see how that goes. I do hope it's been implemented, and of course it should be across all border. One state has started, soon it will spread to other states as well. I mean, the economic hardship in the country is too much for some unnecessary spending on graduation finances. Anyway, that's that from the Punch newspaper. Heading over now to the Vanguard. Tinubu hails winners of by-elections in 12 states, comments INEC. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated all the winners of Saturday, August 16 by-elections in 16 constituencies across 12 states. A statement by the presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga stated that the president commended the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC for the hitch-free elections, mostly devoid of violence. For the full report on that, the Vanguard newspaper is your guide. This one says, why IBB's house remains Mecca for Nigerians, Jonathan. Former President Goodluck Jonathan says the hilltop residence of former military president, retired General Ibrahim Babangida, has remained a sort of Mecca to Nigerians due to his leadership qualities. Jonathan stated this on Sunday in Mina when he led other well-wishers on a visit to Babangida on the occasion of his 84th birthday. For the full report, and that's the Vanguard newspaper is your guide. Labour Party condemns Saturday's by-elections, raises concern over 2027 polls. The Labour Party LP has expressed deep concern over the conduct of Saturday's by-elections held across 16 states, describing the exercise as a significant setback to Nigeria's democratic journey. In a statement issued by Kenya, the acting national chairman, Senator Nenad Usman, the party irregularities, including vote buying, electoral violence, and lack of transparency in the process. For the full report, and that's the Vanguard newspaper is your guide. Northern senators mourn late Emir of Zuru. Senators from the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory under the aegis of the Northern Senators Forum have mourned the death of Emir of His Royal Highness Major General Mohammed Sani Sami. In a statement issued on Sunday, Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, APC Katsina Central, chairman of the NSF, said the Northern Senators Forum received with great sadness the news of the passing of the Emir of Zuru, His Royal Highness Major General Mohammed Sani Sami. We join the government and people of KB State in mourning this significant. Now for the full report on that, the Vanguard newspaper is a guide. And still coming from the Vanguard, Tinubu pledges to make transport sector pride of Nigeria's economy. President has pledged to make the transport sector a pride of Nigeria's economy. The president made the assertion at the second matriculation ceremony at the Federal University of Transportation Daura 2024-2025 academic session. For the full is your guide. And finally, from the Vanguard, I'm traumatized. My body used for stickers. Evans on Ibom Air incident. A young woman at the center of a controversy involving Ibom Air crew has narrated her side of the story. In a post on her Instagram account, Emerson alleged that a flight hostess identified as Julian Edwards forcefully pulled off her frontal her gold jewelry and damaged her mobile phone. For the report on that, the Vanguard newspaper is a guide. And heading over to The Guardian, 62 abducted victims escape bandit camp in Katsina. No fewer than 62 abducted persons, including women and children, have escaped from a bandit camp following a successful airstrike by the Nigerian Air Force (NAF) in Katsina State. The operation conducted on Saturday afternoon was a manhunt for a notorious bandit, Muhammadu Fulani, at his camp located in Jigawa's Sawai community in Danmosa local government area. A statement by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Nasser Muazu, said the escapees, a dozen of them, are currently receiving treatment in hospital, while some are still with military relatives. For the full report on that, the Guardian newspaper is your guide. And this one says Biden's opposition's fragility posed as APC titled with 12 of 16 seats. This report was also recorded in the Punch newspaper. So if you're interested, the Guardian newspaper or the Punch newspaper is your go-to. And to the next one, over 10 banks, insurers risk forced merger in race for new capital. Barely 6 months to the end of the recapitalization window, over 10 mid-tier and marginal banks are still grappling with multiple setbacks that could ruin their chances of securing the required capital threshold and ultimately result in merger and acquisition, or, in the worst case, forced liquidation as the deadline approaches. For the full report, and that's the Guardian newspaper is a guide. And this story we've taken that for in the Vanguard newspaper. IBB at 84, Jonathan louds Babangida's legacy. From that, Zenith Bank celebrate pioneer customers, long-serving staff at 37. With a mixture of pomp and glitz, Zenith Bank PLC at the weekend marked its 35th year anniversary in a commemorative chairman's dinner at the Eco Convention Center, Lagos. In recognition of their contribution to the success of the brand, the bank also presented awards to pioneer customers and long-serving staff who have served for 25 years and above. For the full report, the Guardian newspaper is a guide. And finally, from the Guardian, Telecom body laments low number of women ICT ministers. Communications Union, ITU, has expressed worry about gender disparity disparities, claiming that in 2025, only 21% of information and communication technology ministers and regulators are women. ITU, who disclosed this, added that a recent analysis of nearly 1.6 million artificial intelligence professionals found that women held less than 14% of senior executive roles. For the full report on that, the Guardian newspaper is your guide. And now to the leadership newspaper. Mixed reactions trail by election result as T dominate. We've taken that report before. And the second one here says Adebayo tackles INEC for failing to rein in campaigns defaulters. Presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) in the 2023 general elections, Adewale Adebayo, has berated the Independent National Electoral Commission for failing or refusing to wield the big stick, particularly against the All Progressive Congress for continually flouting the electoral law regarding campaigns. Adebayo expressed displeasure at the development yesterday when he appeared on a Rise TV primetime program. He said the law provides that no political party is allowed to start any kind of electoral campaign until 150 days to election, be it off-cycle or general election, but lamented that INEC had kept blind eye to this provision while the APC flouts its impunity. For the full report on that, the leadership newspaper is your guide. And this one says Tinubu support group rallies ahead of 2027 drums up grassroots mobilization. The Tinubu Support Group, TSG, and government officials have intensified efforts to galvanize grassroots mobilization in support of President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid. For the full report, and that's the Guardian is still your guide, and I'll just do a rundown of some other headlines. Jigawa by-election, I didn't lose polling unit, Minister declares. Army appoints new PSOs, GOCs in major shake-up. If you're interested in that story or in those stories, the leadership newspaper is your guide. And we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll take reports from the foreign scene and the world of sports.
Welcome to 24 Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise info. Seasoned reporters and broadcasters. We dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and breaking news and current happenings across the globe. The world.
Yes, glad to know that you're still there. If you just joined us, this is the newspaper review today in the dailies on 24 News Radio and Television. Now let's take some major headlines from the foreign newspapers. Huge crowds gather in Israel calling for a hostage deal and end to Gaza war. Hundreds of thousands of people have gathered in Israel to call for an end to the Gaza war and a deal to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas. The largest crowd was seen in Tel Aviv Hostage Square on Sunday, with the organizers saying the government's plan to seize control of Gaza City risked the life of around 20 hostages still being held by Hamas. For the full report, the BBC is your guide. And this one says Washington talks could prove more vital for Ukraine's future than Trump-Putin's summit. It is quite possible that Monday's meeting in the White House could prove even more crucial to the future of Ukraine and for all of security than last Friday's US-Russia summit in America. On the surface, that Putin-Trump reunion seemed to live down to every expectation. Sanction, no ground announcement. For the full report, the BBC is still your guide. And this one says Bolivia set to elect first non-left-wing president in 2 decades. Bolivia is set to elect a non-left-wing president after nearly 2 decades of near-continuous rule by the incumbent Socialist Party. According to official preliminary results, Senator Rodrigo Paz and former President George Quiroga came in first and second place respectively in Sunday's presidential elections. For the report on that, the BBC is your guide. And from the West Africa Deaf Football, Athletes Champs Ignite Abuja. All is now set for the 13th West African Deaf Football Tournament and the third West African Deaf Athletics Championship in Abuja. The event is slated to hold from August 18th to 30th at Package B of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. For the report and Punch newspaper is your guide. Still in social plans coach. And still coming from sports, world champs Onwuzurike misses 200-meter spot by millisecond. Atlanta waiting for suitable Lukman offer. Battle brothers at Efunkoya tennis tourney. I will fight anyone, says Itauma after white knockout. The Tigers move Cameroon, reach Afro-Basket quarters. If you're interested in those stories from the world of sports, the Punch newspaper is a guide. And that is where we'll be drawing the curtain in today's segment of the newspaper review. Today in the dailies on 24 News Radio, coming your way in the course of the day. My name is Grace Mwafo. Do have a lovely week.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make